Swamp Thing number 22, written by Charles Soule, art by Kano. So last issue, we had an entire thing about some random woman who was asking for sanctuary in the green, but Swamp Thing was like, okay, look, before I deal with that, I got to go deal with this thing called Cedar. He's out in Scotland, so just cool your jets here for a while. So we pick up with Cedar, who makes his way outside of a town called Fetters Hill in Scotland, and he walks up to this elderly couple, and his face is covered with a hood, so we can't see him save for some green blotches all over his face. And he's like, excuse me, kindly old couple, if this town were to make a wish, what would it wish for? And the couple's like the town? Like, not the people, but the town? And he's like, yep, that's what I said. And he's like, it would probably want the whiskey factory back open, because that was our sole source of income as a town, and it doesn't work anymore. And he's like, fair enough. And so he takes the seed out of his bag, he blows on it, throws it in the grass, and the old couple's like, who are you? Like, what's going on? He says, oh, some people call me the Cedar. And then all of a sudden, this giant-ass tree springs up in the spot where he laid a seed. And on the branches of the tree are essentially sacks of whiskey coming off it like it's fruit. So that happened. We see 24 hours later, Swamp Thing has made his way to Scotland, and he's like, okay, the green's all messed up in that town down there. I don't know what's going on. It has something to do with that big-ass tree I could see from all the way up here. But if I go down there like Swamp Thing, they're going to run away. And this country of Scotland has one too many monsters already, so I got to find some sneaky way. And so we see in the forest outside of town, Swamp Thing comes in through one of the trees, but he purposely holds back rather than fully forming, and we just see an eye and an ear form on this tree. And he's peeping at the town, seeing what they're doing. And they're all gathered around this tree, partying, basically, having a fantastic time. And he's like, all right, well, that's not what I expected. Everyone's so happy and having fun. And then all of a sudden, someone comes up to the tree and says, oh, you're such a peeper. Didn't expect that. Well, maybe we should get to know each other, Alec. And it turns out it's John Constantine. And so he steps up. He's like, how about you grow yourself a body? I feel weird talking to a tree. So Swamp Thing comes out and he's like, what are you doing here, Constantine? And he's like, oh, yeah, no, I heard about this town and they had some sort of magic thing going on. I figured I'd check it out. And Constantine thinks it's Swamp Thing. He's like, oh, I'm surprised that you're willing to come down on the side of people and give them something fun for a change. And Swamp Thing's like, wasn't me. It's a guy named Cedar. He's the one doing it. He's messing with the green, and I don't like it. I don't like what he's doing. And Constantine points out, like, well, if he's able to mess with it to the point where it's bothering you, he seems like he's a force to be reckoned with. And Swamp Thing just takes a beat and looks at him and says, like, son of a bitch, it's you, isn't it? And he grabs Constantine and picks him up and be like, you're the Cedar. You know magic, and you just happen to be here. It's all too perfect. I know it's you. And Constantine says, put me down in special red font. And for some reason, Swamp Thing has to. He absolutely cannot resist putting down Constantine. And Constantine's like, okay, here's the thing. I'm not Cedar, because if I had the ability to make you do anything, I would have told you to, like, leave and never come back. But I just told you to put me down. Secondly, I'm telling you now as a weakness of mine, I can't do that trick on you ever again. Like, that's a one and done. You're safe from that forever. Third off, I just heard about it. I felt this magic in the system, and I wanted to come check it out. Also, it's whiskey. That's nice. Like, I'm going to go ahead and check that out. So he furthermore puts forward that despite the fact that they barely know each other, quote unquote, apparently, Constantine does want to be friends with Alec Holland again. And I think that's because the what was his name? Alan Moore run still technically kind of happened in continuity in this, because it was a whole extra thing before issue 1 of this book. Regardless, Swamp Thing's like, fine, whatever. Like, we can talk, we can see if we can be friends or whatnot, but this tree has to go. And Constantine says, like, now hold on, look, they're having fun. Like, what's the big deal? If it's good for these people, like, this town is going to die if you take away this tree. They have a chance at, like, coming back and doing something here. Isn't that worth that? Like, do you have any humanity left inside you at all? And we see them just having fun, taking sips of the drink. And then all of a sudden, one of the guys says, hey, leave some for the rest of us. And starts to, like, yank his arm away from the tap. And then he gets kicked in the balls And everyone starts laughing at his misfortune, including the guy who kicked him. But then all of a sudden, he gets this menacing like look in his eye, and he starts stomping on the guy's head and like cracking his skull. And all the other people are just looking down, smiling with this menacing grin as they're basically killing each other. And Swamp Thing says, like, look, of all people, you should understand this is something, there's a balance, and you can't tip over the balance. This is tipping the balance too far in one direction. I have to put a stop to it to get the green back in order. And Constantine takes a drag of his cigarette, and he's like, look, all I understand is that you're a lot quicker to come down on the side of plants than you are people, and I think that's something you need to analyze, Alec. And Swamp Thing says, whatever. It's not even whiskey. Like, whiskey comes from barley. Do you see any barley on that tree? And as he looks back over and sees everyone killing each other, he's like, oh no, I need to intervene right now. You see this, Constantine? This is why we can't have nice things. And Constantine basically pulls out a vial from his shirt and says, I could help you right now, Alec, but I'm not. Because I had a few drinks from that tree, and whatever it is, whiskey or not, it's damn good. And I'm not going to let you get rid of it. And he throws this vial to the ground, and it sends Constantine into just this huge amount of pain. He's just screaming in agony. And Constantine walks his way over to the town. We see that Swamp Thing is unable to feel the green anymore. He's just completely cut off from it for some reason, but the body that he's in still has its power, so he's trying to figure out what to do with that. But Constantine's like, oh, looks like you're all done. Someone's going to take you out to the curb like all the other long clippings. And so Constantine makes his way back into the town where everyone's like either passed out or still bloodthirsty. He walks his way in, smashes a jug, pulls out a piece of glass in the shape of a crown, puts it on his head. He says, I crown myself John Constantine the First. My first order of business with this city of Fetters Hill, playtime. And he points to Constantine, and they all start tearing him apart, tree branch from tree branch. And that's the issue. It's heavy. It's a big issue. I feel like this one, all the prior issues kind of went really deep into this idea of like, what is the responsibility of Swamp Thing to mankind and whether or not he has any. This one, it touches on it, but it just doesn't quite go deep enough. It just stops at that surface layer of like, no, there's a balance. And I even think Constantine would have been a great character to analyze all of that with, because Constantine is such a dick. Like he just does things self-serving, so it's almost like, the whole with great power comes great responsibility. If Constantine has this great magical power, what is his responsibility to mankind? But they just seem, maybe they're going to get it next issue or even the issue after that, but for this particular issue, they just kind of dance around the idea of, well, the green has a balance and we can't mess with that. It seems more so the idea of Swamp Thing's now cut off from the green, which is horrible, but it's also like the third time this has happened, so I'm sure we'll get it fixed soon enough. But regardless, it's a solid issue either way. Maybe a bit out of character for Constantine, but beyond that, fine. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5. I do enjoy it. I think the art is good, and it's got me pumped for whatever the next issue is going to bring.